You're watching Experience Comic Culture and Sales, streaming live daily to Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, and Twitter.
What's up, the internet? It's producer Kyle. How's it going? This episode of In Stores this week is brought to you by James Hake of Scout Comics' favorite drink, Dr. Pepper. Tune into Minute to Skim It some Wednesdays where you can find out about that joke. I have a migraine and I read a whole bunch of comics, so it only got worse. We're going to hope I can remember the comics that I read because I don't remember driving to the office today. This is In Stores this week. I forgot that I was going to need to click the button. So it's going to be a day.
What's up,
Jay's the
everyone?
only one who seems to have any energy amongst the three of us.
I just did an hour show. I'm a little tired.
I understand. That's what I mean. Dan has earned the right to be without energy, and I just woke up without any. So.
Just excited to be here.
Happy to be here.
Jay's just happy to be here. Like he's happy that the books aren't that bad.
I'm really happy with this week because we have so many different publishers.
It's true.
That's the best part to me. You know, we have Mad Cave, we have Comixology, Vault, IDW, Boom, Zenoscope, Dark Horse, and Dynamite. That's
and you forgot. Well, you mentioned it, but I was gonna say we had so many different publishers, and we still managed to read a Zenoscope book.
But it was a decent Zenoscope book.
I disagree, but in the grand scheme of Zenoscope books, it was like top 10. So, no, it's been a day. So, Dan, your show was Star Wars recap, which you missed my Star Wars recap yesterday when I filled in for Miss Jen, where I basically just made fun of Star Wars fans. It was pretty great.
You just seem to want to cause problems.
Well, it's kind of the premise of the show. But also, I've come to the determination that Star Wars fans are the whiniest fandom in fandom. And I can say that because I'm the second whiniest. Like goals. But, yes. Whiny babies was the term of the day. Ed, thank you.
Thought we were supposed to get books from Opus.
We're working on it, but Chris from Opus has been on vacation since the end of Comics Pro. He's been back in the office for 2 days.
Because if we would have had Opus, we could have dropped one of the Dark Horse books and just had one book from every publisher. It would have been awesome.
Well, and I actually just got, during your show, a book called Sleepwalking from Silver Sprocket. So it's the I'll read you the solicitation on Sleepwalking.
Mm-hmm.
Clementine and her gritty punk friends as they navigate the perils of ex-partner drama, too loud house shows, and the overwhelming ennui that is their 20s. Clem's a possum, her friends are raccoons, badgers, and squirrels. More importantly, they're trying. The solicitation is not good.
No.
But the cover for the book is a possum walking upright wearing a suit.
Sold.
Yeah. I may actually disagree with you on the solicitation being not good.
Well, I mean that the English is not great. Like, it's clear they forgot some words, like, you know, some conjunctions.
You're limited. It's like writing for Twitter, you know, you're limited. And I don't mean current Twitter. Like, when I wrote my first Lucius Fogg novel, I wrote it live on Twitter in the 144 character limit. So basically, I was writing sentences and parts in that constricted format.
Oh, sure, but like if they would have just put the word follow on the beginning,
Yeah.
it would have made the whole thing more grammatically correct. But I'm very excited to read this book. I'm going to read it probably tomorrow. I'm going to go home after the show, take a Vicodin, and become unconscious. But it's one of those. I'm very excited about that book. I've been coding with the StreamYard and Facebook engineering teams for 2 days, and so I'm a little. What's the word for it? The fact that my eyes aren't bloodshot is pure Visine.
Well, you did just go. You did just tell us that you're going to go home and take a Viking. So.
So wait, just to answer John real quick, it was great. It was great.
Who gets married on a Monday, Jay?
My sister-in-law, apparently.
I said I was talking to JD yesterday because he helped us out, and I said, "Who gets married?" And he goes, "Yeah, normies." And I go, "On a Monday?" He goes, "Weird norm."
I got married on a Thursday.
Makes more sense than a Monday, because at least Thursday night you can go to wing night afterwards and get your whole wedding meal on a discount.
I think my nephew had Monday. He didn't go to school.
That makes sense.
Something that helped.
My fiance at the time had the Thursday off, so I went in, worked half day, got off, drove over to the courthouse. My parents met us, and we got married.
Right.
I see went to Brazilian barbecue for dinner.
Right. Exactly. And Brazilian barbecue is also discount on Thursdays some places. If you think I don't know when Fogo de Chao is having a sale, you've misunderestimated your man. All right. Should we get into it?
Yeah.
Sure.
All right. Let me dial up the thing here. And there we go. So we're going to start with Exorcists Never Say Die, #1 from Mad Cave Studios, written by Steve Orlando.
It could have been written by Tony Orlando.
And Dawn.
Yes. This is a very strange book. I kind of liked it and kind of didn't get it. You have these two warriors for Christ. I don't know. Are they Templars? I'm not sure.
Yeah, I think they're supposed to be Templars.
Yeah, and they're going in to defeat the 7 deadly sins. And I felt myself like perhaps the sin that they're dealing with and how he slows everybody down to the point. I kind of felt that might have been affecting me today.
Sloth,
yes. I didn't want to say which one, but yeah.
Well, every time I see every time someone reminds me that one of the 7 deadly sins is sloth, I just see a sloth in my brain and think about how Kristen Bell's obsessed with
Baby from Miss Marvel, the little winged one. I think I like this book. I definitely want to read the second one, having to do with they're going after lust next. So, and we've got 2 warriors for God that used to date.
Yeah. So there's going to be some segments of the country that are going to have problems with this book for like a lot of reasons.
Mm-hmm.
That said, the reason I had a problem with this book is how verbose it was. There were a lot of words. And I had to look a fair amount of them up. Like, I'm not 100%, don't get me wrong, but this book is written at a much higher reading level than, say, some of the other stuff we have this week, which isn't a bad thing. It's just, I read it first. I hadn't had coffee yet. There were, like, I struggled because of the language used. If I go back and reread it tomorrow or later tonight or, Thursday, I may have a totally different feel for this book. Because of the circumstances, right? I thought the depiction of sloth was interesting. Mm-hmm. I kind of like the idea of one of the 7 deadly sins being sort of depicted like the tree men from Lord of the Rings. I can't remember what they're actually called, but
Ents?
Okay. Yeah. Anyway, the tree guys from Lord of the Rings, and it's kind of a nice way to tell a story like this. I want to know why they're called exorcists and what it means exorcists never die, and like I want some more details that we didn't get in this first book. The thing I did love is that the book starts and there's action. Yeah. And it starts at 50 miles an hour and doesn't slow down.
Yeah.
Which is pretty good. I also will say there's a panel. It might be the third page that I sent Chris Latore from Mad Cave a screenshot and goes, look, if this art ever becomes available, I'm buying it. And it's the two guys on top of a building, and it's like this almost like portrait mode panoramic of this building that I think would just look really cool hanging on the wall. So I really enjoyed the art in this book and the look of this book. It was a little hard to read just because there was so much text.
Yeah, it wasn't exactly like English Shakespeare dialect, Edward, but when I started reading it, I was just like, what in the Pokemon, Yu-Gi-Oh, Magic the Gathering, Dragon Ball Z am I reading? Because much like those shows, I didn't understand a lot of it. I felt like the mom from Small Wonder, because every time something got explained, I was like, that makes sense. Didn't make sense to me at all. I really did like it, though. I liked it, but it felt like you got dropped into a game without a tutorial, so you don't exactly know how things work. This book should have come with a codex for some of the stuff they were talking about, because I was just like, okay, the teachings of blah blah blah. I was like, all right, cool. I want to read more of it, though. It's like my brain's telling me I'm not sure if I like this, but I think I do.
Absolutely.
There's a lot of religious connotation and terminology from very old like 14th century terminology having to do with religion and the days of the Crusades and stuff like that.
Bless you.
Thank you. Yeah.
It's basically things you'd find in a Dan Brown book.
Dan, I will send you issue 2 if you want to read it ahead of time.
Oh, yeah, please.
It's already available.
Nice.
So. All right. Up next for King and Country 007.
Yeah.
I'm in. This picks up immediately from where Philip Kennedy Johnson's last James Bond series picked up or left off. Different artist, Giorgio Spalletta is doing the art. It's got some great covers. But again, we just pick up immediately action and then let's slow it down a little bit. So I like the setup on this. I'm really interested to see where this is going to go, because he is definitely Philip is definitely taking this to a place that they've kind of brushed against in the movies and stuff. But basically this is Bond and another 00 on the run from everybody. Yeah. And it's really damn cool. So
I don't have too much to say about this one, but really it's just already with the action, already with a little twist. I can't wait to see what Philip Kennedy Johnson does and what he's got in store with this story this go round. Like, it's excellent.
Dynamite in doing this book has done two things. One, they've differentiated this series from the last series by changing the title, but they've committed what I think is one of the cardinal sins in comic publishing, which is buying into the number ones that sell better than other numbers, which is true, but this is not a new series. This is the same series we just read. Just continuing. Now, it has the potential to be a new series. So I'm okay with the reboot, right? I can see that Philip is trying to set up something. So I'm okay with it. But a lot of people are going to say, well, this should just be number 6 of the previous series. A lot of people are just going to say this should just be a continuation. I'm willing to hold judgment on that because this book was so good. And I can see that, again, he's trying to build a second thing happening here. So because of all that, it doesn't bother me like it would otherwise.
There's also a little bit of inside baseball on this. The previous series was planned and put together to be a miniseries. They got to the final issue, and this I interviewed Philip a while back. He said that he had this thought at the end, and it changed. There's a character that was dead that he said, well, what if they're not dead? This series was created from this whole what if idea, and they quickly changed the final episode or final issue to make it where this to kick off this series. So it wasn't like it was planned like this. It was a mini series that came to its end, and at the last minute they went, that's great, but what if I did this?
Right, but they could have just continued the numbering 2 months later. That is a possibility. Again, I'm willing to accept the fact that he's building a thing that will make this be a standalone with ties back. Like, you know, it's the Jeffersons having ties to All in the Family, but it's still its own thing.
Mhm.
So, overall, this was a lot of fun, but it has some holes that can be poked in it by people. Don't let them get in the way of you having a good time, because this book certainly is.
Yep.
All right. What's up, Backwoods? All right. I've been looking forward to the next book for a long time.
Oh.
The Great British Bump Off, number 1. Where my Bake Off fans at?
Oh, goodness.
Anybody else out there do a bake along? No, just me.
I've never done a bake along, but I've watched the show, and this is absolutely crazy. This is just, you need to at least watch an episode of the Great British Bake Off to get it, or at least some cooking shows like that. Even if it's the Magnolia one, if you watch the American thing.
Oh, like the great cookie contest or whatever they did. The great cookie contest, yeah.
Yeah, but it would help to watch the Great British Bake Off. This is just crazy. It really is. It is satirical. It is humorous. The characters are hilarious. I want to be a chef, but I also am a detective, or I solve mysteries. It's like, so you need to put reality aside when you watch read this, and just get into it. Let the suspension of disbelief, shoot disbelief, just kill it, put it out of its misery, and enjoy the book. It is silly. It is fun. Great art. It just all comes together. I liked it.
And by the way, guys, all 3 covers of this book feature some sort of cake and murder. Like in this one, the cake has clearly crushed someone. There's another one where let me pull it up here so I describe it accurately. The cake has arms and is wielding 2 knives. And there's another one that you cut open the cake and blood comes pouring out, and there's a skull and crossbones in the middle of the cake. Like, wow. Trust me when I say this book is everything. Dan, you've watched more of Poker Face than I have.
Yes.
This to me feels like what would happen if Natasha Lyonne from Poker Face got on Bake Off.
Yeah. This could totally be an episode of Poker Face.
Yeah, this in a week where we have Usagi Yojimbo, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, 007, and what was the other book? The Seasons Have Teeth, which are all books that I've been hugely looking forward to.
Yeah.
This is my favorite book of the week because I just laughed and giggled the whole time.
Yeah, this is totally tongue in cheek. It kind of has like a Disney Pixar look to the art, but it's dry humor. Oh man, I have a feeling though, as much as I like this, I'm either really going to enjoy this or I'm going to get a few chuckles still and maybe get bored of it. But just, I don't know. I'm very interested to read more, but I did laugh quite a bit while I was reading this. So hopefully they can continue that energy.
The art reminds me of Animaniacs.
Okay. Yep.
Yeah, and I think if this is like a 3 or 4 issue series, it's going to be great. If they do more than that, I think it would get a little too much.
Let me look and see if it says here.
I think 3 issues would be perfect.
There's only 3 currently solicited: April, May, and June. Let me see if it says
we haven't got
anything.
July solicitations yet.
Kind of looks like maybe there are 4 issues that are going to be a thing.
Okay.
So, all right, up next, White Savior number 4. Personally, I'm kind of glad it's almost over. I don't know how much more of this I could stand.
Yeah.
And have it keep the same quality. It feels a little bit like, and it is issue 4 of 4. So this may have been intentional. Feels like a little bit like it's running out of gas.
Mm-hmm.
It's tying up its loose ends, which is what it's supposed to do, but it's running out of gas. This book has been great. It's been super fun. But it's like if you make too many Shrek movies, eventually Eddie Murphy's jokes as Donkey are going to be not funny anymore. Same thing here.
I'm going to borrow a critique from your buddy at Nerd News Now. I would like this book better if it had less words. There's a whole lot of talky in it, but I do like the story. It has that Bill and Ted's feel to it. But and then suddenly the characters are arguing with the narrators, and there's some interesting stuff in it. It's a lot of fun, but I think a little bit less would have been more. Stretching it out to 4, I think it could have been done in 3. 4 feels a lot. They could have toned it down some places, but tightened it up. But overall, I think it's a fun series. But yeah, I'm with you. I'm definitely, yay, it's done.
Yeah, I'm about the same. It has a pretty predictable ending. I mean, I was really hoping for some big revelation. Never came, but it's a ridiculous book that you read, you laugh at. If this was a movie, it would be like a Mel Brooks-esque kind of parody. That's what I feel when I see it, because it's just so ridiculous in some places. And if you have like a Blazing Saddles kind of feel or movie like that, the only question I have left is, what would the world have done without the movie Breaking 2?
You mean, well, everybody calls the sequel to every movie Electric Boogaloo?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's the only question I have left. Other than that, I'm with y'all. I think maybe the plan was with issue 4 was to make it feel like it was running out of gas. Maybe that was a choice. I don't know, but yeah, I'm glad they ended it when they did and didn't try to drag it on anymore.
Cinderella Queen of Hearts #1.
Zenescope really wants a Harley Quinn series. That's what I got.
Okay, I'll be the power of positivity on this one. I love Cindy. And this was an awesome book for me. I thought the character of the Queen of Hearts was great. I thought the story was fun. It was action packed. Cindy, to me, yes, a little Harley Quinn, but for me, she feels like she's the Deadpool because she either makes you laugh or you're just annoyed with what she says. Like there's kind of no middle ground there. Um, and when the character does that, for me, the writer did their job. You're either going to love this character or this character is so annoying, grates on my nerves. But I hope we continue with this one because I'd like to see more of these two characters.
I feel like Dan might have read my notes in my head about this book. Wish.com Harley Quinn. It's trying to be Harley Quinn. It's trying to be campy and funny at the same time. And it isn't. It's close. It's a tough sell to me. It just doesn't work. It's a fine book. It's the right number of pages, which is so often my complaint with Zenescope books. But it just comes a little short. And I think part of it's because we're seeing such good things done with Harley Quinn in the Harley Quinn animated show and with some of the other stuff, seeing that to have a slightly less good version of the same really kind of sticks out. Backwoods says Zenescope isn't about reading, and we've talked about this before on the show. That's not true. Zenescope has some of the best writing going until recently when they got really obsessed with fish people and, you know, only doing one-shots that are 197 pages and kind of have lost the plot of what they did well. This is evidence to that. Also evidence to that I couldn't on any of the normal websites I use get the A cover for this book.
Didn't I send it
because
to you?
You did, but I didn't have access to the Dropbox when I was making the PowerPoint because I've left my laptop at home. So it was one of those things. I'm trying to find this cover, and Previews doesn't have it, League doesn't have it, and really, come on. So that to me is just evidence of things already going poorly. So, all right, up next, The Seasons Have Teeth.
What the hell is this? I sat down and I read this book and I liked it and I loved the art and I thought it was a really interesting story, but I don't know what the hell it was. I don't know. This is the first issue. I don't know what this is doing. When did the seasons become monsters?
When I have to take an extra Zyrtec in the months of April and May.
That's what it is. It's a Zyrtec commercial come to comic books, isn't it?
It really is, isn't it? This is a book for those of you who have seasonal allergies. When you hate spring as much as I do because you itch all over, this is the book for you.
The art,
I'm with you, Dan.
Yeah, the art is absolutely gorgeous in this.
Stunning.
And I got into the character. You know, he's a widower. He, used to do photography. He hasn't been able to find his muse for a while because of it. But he's breaking the rules and he's supposed to have leave town. It's all this stuff, but where were the teeth? The season just seemed to want to cuddle.
See, I don't know how I feel about this yet either. At the beginning of it, it kind of gave me like a sense of supernatural dread, you know?
Yeah.
And then near the end, there was like this weird tonal shift, and I was expecting a completely different outcome than what we got. Like this wasn't bad, but I don't know what this book is yet. I like it. I want to know more, but I don't know what the book. I don't know what it is.
Yeah.
I hate spring.
Like,
Well, those two. No, like this, the art was the thing that kept me in this book. It doesn't go far enough in terms of explaining what the hell is happening to make the book interesting. I think part of the problem is that they're trying to leave something for later in the series where all hell breaks loose. You need a little bit of hell in issue 1. And there wasn't any really.
there was no hell, but a lot of what the hell.
Right. So I think I have to let the art keep me reading issue 2. But if issue 2 doesn't sort of start explaining what the teeth are and why the seasons have them, or what the solicitation mean when it says he risked everything to track down spring, summer, autumn, and winter, I'm out. Like, I won't be reading issue 3 if it doesn't start in issue 2.
By the way, Marvel, DC, hire this guy, this artist.
Yeah.
Put him on Swamp Thing or Man Thing or something.
Yeah. Sebastian Cabrol. He did Anthony Bourdain's Hungry Ghost, and he did Maestro World War M for Marvel. And the writing partner is Dan Waters, who did Homesick Pilots, if you remember that series.
No.
So, all right.
Gorgeous book. I have no idea what's going on with it.
That's fair.
Just going to take out the staple and put the art on the wall.
It's true. So let's do this real quick. Before we keep going, let's take a minute and let everybody know what's happening here on the Experience and on our respective shows. I want to remind everybody that Friday at 7:00 during the original art show, Nick is selling an entire Spider-Man book. There's one page I really want. I'm willing to spend a not unreasonable amount of money for it. Just so you know, I'm coming. If you're normally on the art show trying to buy something, just know I'm coming. There is a full-page splash of
with him.
Yeah, there's a full-page splash of the Green Goblin that I want.
Who's the artist?
John Jr. Scott Hanna inks. So it's not going to be a cheap page.
No.
But I'm betting Nick will let me make payments. So, all right. Dan, today was Star Wars Celebration recap.
Yes.
What do you got? What do you got on tap for tomorrow?
Tomorrow,
Hobgoblin. Thank you, Nick. Hobgoblin. Sorry. You know what I mean. I've been dreaming about that page for 3 days.
Tomorrow I am going to dig a little deeper into the Marvels trailer, and I did a rewatch of Iron Man, the original. So we'll talk about that and do some Iron Man key collectible issues, and then on Thursday we will break down the 7th episode of The Mandalorian, which, for all the people that got to see it at Celebration, say that is absolutely amazing. So
I for that. TikTok almost got me to watch the Marvels trailer. Is this close?
It's a damn good trailer.
It really is.
I hear it is because the internet hates it, so I'm in. But
What internet hates it? I don't get it. Everything I'm seeing, people love it.
how do I put this? The people who were going to hate it anyway because of who's playing Monica Rambeau,
Yeah.
they're all kinds of loud, which means I'm gonna love it, and it's gonna be good. But I was not prepared to watch it today. I just got my Disney Plus login back working, so I have to start with She-Hulk and get caught up.
She-Hulk was really good.
So
Yeah, I enjoyed She-Hulk.
Instead of watching She-Hulk today like I intended when I got my Disney Plus working, I may or may not have put on a U2 documentary with David Letterman.
Actually, since you've got Disney back, you should watch the interview of Jeremy Renner from Diane Sawyer.
I watched that on Hulu.
Okay.
I almost texted you during it.
I sat there, my jaw dropped to the entire thing.
Yeah.
Oh
Ugly crying.
Yeah.
I said to Jen on Nerd News Now on Monday, my new life goal is to become so important that when someday something tragic happens to me, Diane Sawyer has to do the interview. Just because it was such a beautiful interview. She did such a great job.
It was. And just the story, though.
Oh,
what
absolutely.
he went through
And the fact
his
that
attitude.
he walked with a cane onto Kimmel last night.
I know, I saw that. I'm like, oh my God. He went to Magic Mountain. Day before yesterday, he went to Magic Mountain.
I'm the guy who, in the hospital on the knee scooter was working, but
Yeah.
that I would not go to an amusement park. Come on, man.
90 days after being run over by a 14,000-pound machine, it would only be better if he was going to Disneyland.
Right. I'm surprised that Bob Iger wasn't like, look, bro.
Now, Iger's spending time slapping down Ron DeSantis.
That's fair.
Yeah.
Which is like my third favorite political story right now. Anyway, Jay, what is happening on the Space Cadets this week? Do you remember?
So the episodes are going to be kind of out of order. Bean took the night off, so Jenna and Alfie decided to look at movies that are coming out in 2023. They talked about the Barbie movie. Just looks crazy. I'm probably going to go see it just because. Oppenheimer.
There's a double feature.
I know.
Oppenheimer and Barbie.
One bombshell to another bombshell.
Yep.
So it was basically movie talk. Yeah, it was
I'm
basically
super
movie
angry.
talk.
I didn't make that joke.
So yeah, it was a fun time. Here are the ones that they're really excited to go see. Renfield is one of the top ones. So yeah, it was a fun show.
I was not in on Renfield until I went and saw. What did I go see? I went and saw a movie this past week, and they had the trailer on. I'm like, okay, I'm in.
John Wick or Dungeons and Dragons?
No, it was like a special feature that they had at the local cinema. It was Johnny Dangerously.
Oh my God.
Uh-huh. They were doing slapstick. They're doing on Wednesday nights slapstick movies from the 80s and early 90s. So you've got your, they did The Mask one week. They did Johnny Dangerously. They've done several others.
I love going to theaters and seeing older movies that way. I got to see Creature from the Black Lagoon years ago, when Ben Chapman was there, so I got a bunch of stuff signed by him. The guy in the suit on Land, and then I got to see Frankenstein and The Bride of Frankenstein back to back in a theater on a Halloween night a few years ago, and that was awesome.
Yeah, it's one of those things is that Wednesday nights, are one of my nights off here, so I try and go do something that doesn't require me thinking about work, or will not let me think about work. So I usually go to the movies or, go do an activity, and they're like, we're going to have these 9 movies over 9 weeks. And it's like $6. It's a great, I forgot that Johnny Dangerously is where the word bastages came from. I'm I'm going to shoot you right in the ice hole.
By the way, hit the like button while you're here.
Yeah.
Nick was here and he didn't say anything. So
Otherwise, you're a bastage.
yes.
Goodness.
That movie's so dumb. I love it. It's so great.
Yeah.
All
My
right.
father put me on a hook once.
Right. Joe Piscopo, man, way better than he had any right to be in that movie.
Oh yeah.
All right. And then Jay, are there any Triangle of Truths?
We have gotten into doing shorts. I'm still learning how to do any of that stuff. So I dropped one today. What the shorts are suggestions of the week. We do a kind of newer pick and then we do an older pick. So just for spoiler for folks out there, I did Where Monsters Lie is my newer pick, and I did A World Without Superman for my throwback one. So
all right. So I'm going to talk about hot takes, but you're going to put Han on screen because if he's going to be here, he needs to come on.
you hear him shaking in the background.
Han Puppo is here. So hot takes. Monday's the last episode of the current form of hot takes. As I said when I changed to the current form we're doing now, hot takes is like a Super Saiyan. It's going to have to take a minute to get to its final form. And we're getting there. So last episode in the current format, that will be changing, and that announcement will be made during the episode on Monday.
Are we retiring the pancakes?
We are, but we're replacing them with buffalo wings and ranch sauce.
It's going to be awesome.
Yeah. Jay knows a little bit about what's happening. But I will say this. Monday, we're doing an episode that I've been working on for 6 weeks. I've been writing this episode for 6 weeks. I've been teasing it now for 6 weeks. Say I'm going to do it. And every time I get ready to do it, somebody sends me more data. So I have to stop and restart and rewrite because I want to be right when I do it. Monday is variant covers. We did CGC comics last night. We're going to do variant covers finally on Monday because if I don't on Monday, I'll never get to. So, all right. Let's get back to the books.
Oh yeah, that's why we're here.
Yeah, that's why we're here. So first of all, just so if you don't know, this is IDW, but Dogu Press is Stan Sakai's personal imprint at IDW. So this is them saying the same way they said to Matt Kent in the book we had last week, and that they've done for Eric Powell with Albatross Funny Books. Hey, Stan, here's your imprint. Do what you want. And so this is the first book from Dogu, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Asagi Jimbo, Where When.
This is Stan doing Stan. The turtles are in it, but pequeña.
Mm-hmm.
It's mainly a Usagi book for now. There's a lot of setup, but I have a feeling that the setup was needed and things are going to hit the fan. I'm very curious to see where this goes. So if you're a Stan fan, jump on this. If you're a Turtle fan, check it out.
Yeah, it's that's a great way to put it, Dan. It was a Usagi book. The turtles are there, but it's always like when Stan plays with the turtles, you're not 100% sure why. Like you're kind of waiting for the turtle thing to happen. And I saw some of that in the setup with Usagi, where the bad guy is a turtle.
Mm-hmm.
There's some of that happening. Stan and Kevin Eastman and actually Bob Burden from Flaming Carrot were all buddies. So it wouldn't shock me if at some point you see Flaming Carrot from Dogu. Like you don't see all of these things kind of start to cross over and just to be like, it's the 90s again. And I'm here for it. This book was a lot of fun. I'm really happy. Usagi is a ninja rabbit. Samurai rabbit.
Yes.
Yes. So it's like I said, this is my sweet spot. This is what makes me happy. This book made me happy. I was shocked that it wasn't my favorite book of the week, but there's a book where cakes are involved in murder. So,
Murder cakes.
Yeah. It's sad to say, and I'm pretty sure I've said this before. My only Usagi Yojimbo knowledge was because I remember seeing him in an episode of the Ninja Turtles cartoons back in the day, like the '85 or whatever year that was, the earlier Turtles cartoons. And when I saw this book and I started reading it, I was thinking, well, this going to be them meeting? Are they going to be like intertwined? Or are we doing one story here and then we're going to jump to a turtle story here? Reading further through the book, I got my answer on that. Um, there are sometimes I forget how brutal the Usagi books are. I mean, there's only a panel in this one, but I was just like, oh wow, I completely forgot. You would think this was a children's book with the way the art is. It is not. It is not. Oh man, I want to know though, with the turtles being in this book, will the turtles ever be that violent as well, or will they stick with the characteristics that they usually have in their own universe? Like I'm kind of interested.
Yeah, it is important to maybe remember that neither of these are kids' comics. If you first discover them from the cartoon or the Archie books, you're not discovering what Stan and Kevin and Peter and Bob Burden and all those guys were doing when they were doing it. So just remember that. Not a kid's book. All right, Breaklands Season 3, Number 1. Were there 2 previous seasons of this book?
Yeah.
Did we read them?
No.
Okay.
We read something from it.
Yeah.
I think we read the start of season 2.
I think you probably need to have read them for this to be any good.
Yeah.
I love Justin Jordan and I like Zach Sharp. So these are 2 people of whom I'm a fan. This book only makes sense if you have the requisite knowledge. And seeing as I don't, it made it a tough read.
What he said. That's my review.
I dug the art and I like the story, but again, this is season 3 of a comic series. So while I wasn't hopelessly lost, I'm pretty sure we were all missing a big chunk of this story. I would like to go back and read the first 2 seasons. It's not a Sonya book. And I do mean seasons. So when Dan calls this an episode, he won't correct himself. The setting of this kind of feels more like I don't want to say apocalyptic, but isn't like dystopian and apocalyptic kind of the same thing, or are they different?
I think we're in distinction without a difference category. They're different, but they're not different.
No, because dystopian may not have stemmed from an apocalyptic event. Apocalyptic are survivors of an event. Dystopian just basically means that it's a very negative world. It's a world that was supposedly going to be this grandiose thing, and it didn't reach that. And it turned into a very negative world. So they are different in so much of the events, the catalysts that make them happen.
So unless I'm totally, completely wrong, and in the first season or 2, they tell us, no, this is an apocalyptic world, then this is dystopian futuristic to me.
Sure.
Yeah.
There were no fish people, though, so Jay dug it.
Yes.
Yes.
Before we move on to the last book, though, Ed, this week from Dynamite, where there's only 007 and a Mad Balls book. And you guys may notice this watching the show. We're trying to focus on early issues of series to get you into them going forward, and not so much issues 4, 5, 6, whatever at the end, just so we can introduce more stuff when we have the opportunity to. So you might not get a Red Sonja if it's a Red Sonja number 7. Unless it's the only Dynamite book, then it will be.
Of course, we bring that up on season 3 of a book.
Right. Irony. The irony is not lost on me, Jay. And then we're going to talk about an issue 3 after this. So, like, the irony of this positioning is not lost on me. Don't worry. All right. Barbarac, number 3, or Barbaric, depending on how you choose to align yourself.
I tried to get into this book. It's a gorgeous looking book. I really like the art, and overall I like the story. But there's so much dialogue. And every dialogue balloon is huge. It's not even like it's a conversation back and forth. It is like Chris Claremont style of writing. So as much as I want to get into and I want to really enjoy this series, I find myself wandering off. I'll start reading it. I put it on the screen, I start reading it, and then I'm checking over here and I'm looking at my phone. Oh, I'm reading this. So again, gorgeous book. This is set in time where people aren't that talkative. Why are they so talkative?
Yeah, this is the book for me that is this with the iPad.
Yeah.
Like, I bent my other pair of glasses today doing that. Like, it's really dumb. I want to love this book. And I have. I'm kind of over it. Like, it's one of those, the relationship was good for the first 3 volumes of this. And we're getting to the point now where in the third series, a talking axe is not enough to keep me involved. You got to do something else, and they don't seem to be. And if I wanted to read Neil Gaiman write this kind of stuff, I would read Neil Gaiman writing this kind of stuff. Like, it just, again, so verbose. So many words. Comic writers could use to learn from Kevin Malone. Why use many word when few word will do?
Yeah.
Or Larry Hama.
I mean, unless you're getting paid by the word count, then make that paper. But, like, don't expect me not to complain.
Yeah. And this is one of these situations where I don't know why this is okay for me, but other books I'm like, too many words. But I've been a fan of this series since the very first issue, and it's just the art, the violence, the humor, the story, just all of it works for me. I will admit the back and forth storytelling is starting to wear a little thin. I kind of want the axe back with Owen. But it does feel with this issue like the stories might be colliding pretty soon. So I don't know what it is. Like the wordiness of it doesn't bother me like it does most books. But like I said, I'm just a little too biased on this series, I guess.
Yeah, absolutely. So real quick, I want to mention something. We didn't get this PDF, but I picked it up when I went to the store today. There is a new Sandman book out. It's Sandman Mystery Theater, or I'm going to blank on it. Sandman Universe, Nightmare Country, Glass House. It's more for those of you who really liked the Corinthian.
Mm-hmm.
It's Corinthian. And it's written by Tinian. So, I've been anti-Tinian because I feel like he stretched a little thin, but it's Tinian writing Sandman. So how bad could it possibly be?
Those are questions you never should ask.
True.
Like, what's the worst that could happen?
True.
A friend of mine asked that question while he was on a boat. His buddy took over the wheel. He went down into the cabin with his girlfriend to take a quick nap. They said, "You sure Matt's okay to run the boat? It's his boat. What's the worst that could happen?" They beached.
Sure. And for those of you who are following the most awkward book ever, Space Job, issue 3 is out this week.
Yeah, I couldn't bring that one over. I just couldn't.
It's fair.
Thank you, Dan. Thank you.
It's fair. I only know because it's on my pull list because I've got to see what happens, but not excited about it. So, as always, In Stores this week is brought to you with no commercial interruptions by Comic Shop Locator. Head over to comicshoplocator.com, type in the zip code of the area where you are, and it will tell you where there are comic shops near to you. At the end of the month,
We should get a haberdashery to sponsor us.
New Era, if you're out there, we're in.
New Era.
That's the MLB logo. You got to turn another 90 degrees, Dan. There you go.
Yeah, there it is. New Era.
New Era, if you're out there, we would love to talk. But I'm heading to a place called Parkersburg, West Virginia at the end of the month. Huh?
On purpose?
Yes.
Is it a cook-off?
Yes. And Parkersburg is just the nearest large town with a hotel. The competition is actually in Ohio, but I'm going to have to cross over to West Virginia because there are no hotels closer.
You're
Also,
gonna cook up some
Parkersburg.
long pig, aren't you?
Huh?
You're going to cook up some long pig, aren't you?
No, but Parkersburg is the home of Mothman. So I'm going to visit the Mothman statue in the Mothman Museum while I'm there. But I also put in the zip code of where I'm going to be and found a comic shop along the way to stop at that I've never been to that is in the town of Athens, Ohio, which is where Ohio University is. So I'm going to stop at a comic shop on my way to the barbecue cook-off and to hopefully not get killed by Mothman. Tip your cryptids, everybody. And we will see you next time here on...
Might not be able to get back up.
It's true. We'll see you next time on In Stores this week.